In this video, we're going to take a look at the process of writing a post in WordPress. Now from the Posts Overview screen here, I have a few options for creating a new one. I have this Add New Link and this one. In addition, as of WordPress 3.3, this global toolbar is everywhere as long as you're logged in, both on the administrative side and the public-facing side. And I can use this New Post link to create a new one. So here we are. Going to start off by writing a title. Very good. Very realistic. Now WordPress has a couple of different editor types that you can use, the visual editor and the HTML editor. For these to make any sense, I'm going to need a little text, which I have collected already from the website Hipster Ipsum, up there in another tab. Got this here. So I'm just going to select all this, bring it back over here, and paste it. There we go. The visual editor lets you do things visually. So I can click this button after highlighting some text and it turns bold. I can highlight some more text and make a link. In addition, I can link to existing content. So this provides me with a little list of other posts, and I can just click that and it gives me the automatic link up here, which is pretty handy. A couple of other highlights of the visual editor. One is the full screen mode. Removes all other distractions in your browser and lets you just concentrate on the writing. I'm going to exit that. And also this kitchen sink button here, which adds a whole bunch of other buttons that are perhaps less commonly used, but gives you a lot more options. Turn that off again. If I click this HTML tab, I can see the sort of guts of the post. WordPress does not require you to put in your own paragraph tags or line breaks, but any other markup that you want to use in here, you'll need to insert yourself. These buttons will provide you with some helpers. So again, I can use this B to insert strong tags, and I get them around my little string here. Switch back to the visual editor, and that change is carried over. Generally speaking, I suspect most people will be interested in using this visual editor. Just note that occasionally you can end up with some crazy HTML that could mess with your layout in your theme. So if you ever run into an issue where your theme looks like it's going crazy, come back to a post you've written recently and see if there are runaway HTML tags by looking in the HTML version of the editor. Now let's take a look at some of the other stuff on this page. I'm going to scroll back up here and just show you. In screen options, I've turned on everything for demo purposes. WordPress does not normally enable everything on this page for you. And here we go. Publishing options. So every post starts out in draft mode, which means that only you can see it. It's never shown on your blog live. When you click this Publish button, that's when the post will actually be shown live and be considered, as it says, published. You can change the status here. Most of the time you're not going to need to do this if you are a single blogger, but if you're in a collaborative environment where there are other editors who might want to edit other people's posts, you may find yourself using the pending review status, which means that the post is ready and maybe your editors would like to look at it and they will be the ones to publish it. For now, we will cancel this. We have a few visibility options. Public is the default and just means that the post is shown as normal, no funny business. You can stick it to the front page, which means that regardless of its post date, it will always be shown first on your front page. WordPress normally will show the most recent post first, followed by the next most recent, and so on. Using this will make it ignore the date for this post and always show it first. Password protected. You can set a password here, hopefully a better one than that. And that will show the post in your WordPress timeline, but before anybody can see the content of it or the comments, they will have to type in this password. And finally, private. If your post is set to private, that means that no one will be able to see it except you and administrators. I don't need to do any of this right now, so I'm just going to click cancel, and visibility stays public. The publishing options here, if I click publish right now, this will be published, as it says, immediately. I can edit this and do scheduled posting. So if I want this post to be added on Christmas Day, change this to December 25th at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I can be assured that when Santa comes sailing down the chimney, this post will be ready for him to read on his iPhone. If you hit publish now, the post will not show up on the site until this time arrives. For now, I'm just going to stick with immediately by hitting cancel. I'm going to skip post formats for a moment. Come back to that. Categories and tags will be covered in much more detail later. Excerpt. This lets you create, as it says, a handcrafted summary of this piece of content. So what WordPress normally does is it grabs the first few lines or paragraph or so of every post and uses that on your blog overview, your blog homepage, and shows that as the excerpt. If you want to have something that's more carefully crafted for a particular post, you can write it in this excerpt box and save it, and that is what WordPress will use instead. Trackbacks. If you have these turned on, skip down here, you can see the checkboxes in discussion for allow comments and allow trackbacks and pingbacks. Turned off right now, but if this were enabled, I could use this field to send trackbacks to other blogs. Trackbacks are a feedback system that was created by 6apart, the creators of Movable Type, another blog system. The intention was that you could make a sort of large comment that's posted as a post on your own blog, and then send a notification to the blog on which you're commenting to tell them, hey, I wrote something about your stuff, here's the URL to it. These days, trackbacks seem only to be used for spammers to get links to their own stuff onto your site. So generally speaking, I keep them off by default, and indeed will disable them entirely using plugins. Custom fields. Depending on the theme that you're using, these may or may not be shown, but this lets you do things like, okay, I want to show my mood right now, which is cranky. Or perhaps I'd like to show now playing, and put in here the song that I'm listening to in iTunes. These are not always shown, but if you want custom data on a given post, this is one way to do it. The slug is also available for editing up here under permalink. This highlighted bit is the slug. That's just a post identifier that's used in the URL in your permalinks. Having this slug panel separately means that it just gives you another spot to edit it. Author. If you're in a collaborative environment with more than one author and you have administrative privileges, you can click this to choose a different author so that this post will appear to have been authored by someone else. And finally, featured image. This lets you choose an image from your media library that will be used in certain themes as a thumbnail that's associated with the post. Again, this is highly dependent on the theme you use. Some won't use them at all. Some will have all kinds of interesting ways of using this field, but that is what it is for in WordPress core. So once I'm satisfied with this post, I can click publish. And there we go. Now when I make changes to this, publish has turned into edit. And I can click this link here to view the post on my blog. And there you have it. My links, my bold text, comment area down here. And finally, you can see again in this global toolbar, I have a link to edit this post here, which will take me back to the edit screen. So that is an overview of writing posts in WordPress.